Because it's located in the United States. It used its offices in the United States to supervise the Medicos program. It collected money in the United States, which it deposited in its Washington, D.C. bank accounts and then distributed to Cuba, and then kept 5% of that, over $75 million for itself. So it's located here. It's certainly subject to U.S. law, the Trafficking Victims Protection Act, which defines everything that you've heard today as forced labor and human trafficking. It's a crime under American law, and the law provides civil remedies for victims, like Dr. Matos and Dr. Caballo and the other plaintiffs in the case. That's why we sued the Pan American Health Organization, because they engineered it, they collected the money, they're here in the United States, they're subject to the laws, and the doctors want to be paid what they're entitled to.
And is the lawsuit on behalf of a number of doctors?
Yes, there are 4 named plaintiffs in the case, in addition to Drs. Carballo and Matos. We also have 2 in Houston who have joined the lawsuit. But it's filed as a class action suit. So, assuming the court certifies it as a class action, which has certain legal requirements, meaning that it satisfies the federal rules that allow individuals to aggregate their claims, because otherwise for the individual claimants it will be difficult to get relief, difficult to hire a lawyer, but so the law allows aggregation of claims in a class action. If we're successful getting that certified before the court, and we think we have very solid grounds to do that, then all the Cuban doctors who are now in the United States would be members of the class, and they would get notice of what's happening in the lawsuit. And then they could decide for themselves if they wanted to be a part of it.
Do you have an estimate of the amount of claiming?
Well, you can do the math, which is that $1.5 billion was taken in by PAHO from Brazil. The doctors only got about $125 million of that. Now, not all of the doctors are covered by the suit because many of them are still in Brazil, but there are 3,500 of the Cuban Medicos doctors are here in the United States. So some work for a year, some work for 3 years, so we can't calculate the exact amount of money, but you can get an idea of the order of magnitude that we're talking about. It would be several $100 million that the class members in the U.S. would be entitled to recover. Yes, ma'am.
Can you say when did you file the lawsuit?
This morning, November 30th.
And if I may just ask Dr. Ramona, like just a quick clarification, because Ramona, perdón, no era para el nombre de Maya Mujer. Disculpe, si usted puede decir, usted menciona un agente de la OPS que controlaba en Brasil. ¿Esa persona era cubana o era brasileña?
What's the question?
Whether the OPS controlling agent was Cuban
or Brazilian. If the person that he mentioned that controls the Cubans in Brazil.
The agent.
Era el agente, generalmente tú no lo conocías. ¿Entiendes? Tú no lo conocías.
Basically, the person wasn't known to you.
Decían que pudiera ser médico, pero tú no sabías si era médico
They claimed
o no era
the person
médico.
could be a doctor.
¿Quién era?
You were unaware of
La
that.
pregunta de ella si era cubano o cubano.
Cubano. Bueno, cubano.
Was a
Era una
Cuban,
persona
Cubano.
cubana que
Cubano.
trabajaba para la OPS en Brasil.
working for PAHO.
Yes, the answer is yes, yes, yes. I mean, that's what she told me. That's what's in the lawsuit. That's what the other doctors. By the way, the other 2 plaintiffs are Fidel Cruz and Marcela Rivero, who are in Houston. There are 4 named plaintiffs. The way the class action works is that you file a suit on behalf of individuals whose claims are representative of the entire class. And as you heard, their experiences were commonly applied. It's Cuban policy to force people to take these jobs. It's not voluntary. They're all required to sign a form contract that just has 2 blanks in it, that has provisions that they're never able to negotiate. They're not told what they're going to do. They're not told where they're going to go. They're heavily surveilled. They're required to indoctrinate the local populations, politically for pro-Cuban political people in Brazil. I mean, that happened to everybody, and they were all shortchanged on the money. Yes, sir.
The doctors that decided to stay in Brazil after the program was discontinued, are they eligible to join this lawsuit?
We've filed this case on behalf of the 3,500 who are here in the United States. to have a class action in the U.S. court, you have to be able to notify the people who were affected, who are members of the class. At the moment, I don't know if we would have the ability to notify all the people who are still in Brazil, for example. So we're starting with those who are here in the United States. That's a question we would address at a future time.
If any of them, your law firm or something,
That's not the issue. Well, that's not really the issue, because it's got to be on a class-wide basis. So it has to be common to the people who have experienced, the wrongdoing and who are within our reach. If people from Brazil contact us, I think that's something we would have to take up with the court at the appropriate time as to whether that population would be susceptible to being part of the class. I want to address a question that's come up with other media, which is, how can you sue the United Nations? Isn't it immune? Didn't the Haitian victims of the cholera epidemic that was brought there by foreign organizations, didn't they try to sue and didn't they lose because of immunity of the United Nations? And the answer to that question is very simple. What was done in Haiti was a horrific experience and caused massive damage to the Haitian people, and it's a huge tragedy. But it was an accident. It was negligence by the organization that was involved. What PAHO did here was no accident. It was very intentional. The Haitians did not get two countries to come together with a UN organization and enter into elaborate contracts to bring cholera to Haiti. That didn't happen. That is what happened here. PAHO, Cuba, Brazil, a private company in Cuba, all engineered this program, which is a violation of human trafficking laws, international law. They are criminal acts, and we have statutes in this country to allow the plaintiffs to seek a remedy for it. That's the difference. That's why we don't believe that the PAHO would be immune under these circumstances. Well, listen, we want to thank everybody, and especially Dr. Matos, Dr. Caballo, for your courage in speaking out and for moving forward with this very important lawsuit to bring human rights to yourselves and others who you will benefit by your actions. Thank you all very much.